For my NFL Week 9 picks and predictions, you watch the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Hello and welcome to the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. NFL Week 9 picks and predictions. Last week was raw. And if you watched my picks and predictions video, I told you it was probably going to be raw. There were a lot of home underdogs that I felt were very dangerous, but unfortunately for me, the teams that I picked to win at home didn't, and the teams that I didn't pick did. As the Panthers won at home, as the Bears won at home, as the Saints won at home, and I didn't pick any of those, but then I picked the Bucs and the Browns, and they let me down. So with that said, this week, however, I feel is a very easy week, which has, good things and bad things, benefits and, faults to it. Because, number one, everyone's going to have the same picks, okay? And I'm sorry, but I'm probably going to bore you today a little bit. I mean, I'm very entertaining, so you're going to be entertained just because of that alone. But my picks aren't going to be that fascinating this week because there aren't many picks where if you're smart, you're going to divvy away from the consensus. You're just not going to do it this week. But I actually went out on a limb for a couple just because I want to have some sort of entertainment value, and I may get them wrong, and that's fine, but I just don't want to be boring. I just don't want to be too boring. So with that said, let's look at the Pigskin Pick'em, the SFE Picks Challenge, in which, yet again, the Golf Chives is currently in first place. And not only is he in the first place of this group, he is 15th overall in the world. Very impressed by this guy who is owning this league. Currently, I am ranked, I believe, 69th. Or actually, I'm ranked 71st right now. I hope to vault into the top 50. I'm only 2 picks away from that. So hopefully the picks of which I'm going away from the consensus this week will move in my favor. And I can vault into the top 50 and hopefully finish this year in the top 3. It's still very much possible. We still have more than half of the year to go. Just 1 week more than half, but half. And last week against the spread, I was okay. My guarantees were 3-2. I'd like to get 4-1. I haven't gotten 4-1 in a while, but they were 3-2 yet again. And my against the spread was 6-7, but my straight up was 6-1. Not good at all. But again, a lot of upsets last week that I didn't see coming. The upsets that I thought I saw coming didn't come. So this week we will attempt to do better with those. Let us begin with the Thursday night football game. The Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, everyone's going to pick the Falcons in this game, and I was damn close too. But number one, as I said to start this video, I kind of want to have some upsets this week, and I think this is going to be one of them. We saw week 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went to Atlanta, and they beat the Atlanta Falcons pretty easily, I might add. They only won by 7 points, but if you watch the game, there was no chance after the second quarter the Falcons were really going to win that football game. Now, maybe they just caught the Falcons by surprise, but I think there's something to this Bucs and Falcons rivalry lately. Ever since this team, the Bucs, have drafted Jameis Winston, they've owned the Atlanta Falcons. Now 3-0 is Jameis Winston against the Atlanta Falcons. They swept them last year. These are two teams that when you actually look statistically, defensively, very similar. Offensively, they're different, okay? The Falcons are more proficient, more elaborate. They get more yards and whatnot. But I like this matchup being on a short week. Atlanta just won. Tampa Bay just lost. Tampa Bay more desperate to win. They're 0-3 at home. They're not good at home. But I think eventually they have to wake up and say, hey, we kind of want to win at home today. Let's do it. So what the hell? I'm going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game and just try to make the NFC South interesting. I'm not saying they're going to win it or anything like that, but I don't think the football gods are ready for this division to be over yet. So I think if there's any upsets this week, this is one of the likelier ones. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and pick the Bucs to win this game. Let's move on to the Sunday games. Dallas Cowboys at the Cleveland Browns. Cowboys got it done yet again last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, despite me thinking that they wouldn't. And they were damn close to not doing it, okay? I mean, they were down by 10 points until the Eagles just absolutely collapsed. Wendell Smallwood had a fumble, and the Eagles play calling offense defensively got ridiculously conservative. However, the Cowboys win the game, and they're going to win this game, okay? The Cowboys, as of this moment, are probably the second best team in the NFL. The Browns are the worst team in the NFL. That is just what is true. Look at the records. That's true, a statement that I just made. So with that in mind, you got to pick the Cowboys to go on the road, to go to Cleveland and get the victory here. And I also like them to cover the 7.5 spread quite a lot, I might add. We move on to the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm concerned when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings right now. This offense is not good, and to make matters worse, probably, Norv Turner just resigned, and he was pushed out of the door. I'm telling you right now, I don't care what they say. I don't care. Mike Zimmer's crying, if his lip is quivering in the press conference. Dude, you told him to leave. Okay, either you told him to leave or some other people told him to leave within the organization. Norv Turner was pushed out of the door. I'm telling you right now, that's what happened, okay? He doesn't just quit. Coaches don't just quit or give up on a 5-2 team in the middle of the damn season. It doesn't happen. Especially this could blackball Norv Turner from offensive coordinator positions, from NFL head coaching positions, from any coaching position in the NFL for years to come. He's not doing that unless if he was told, bro, get out of here. We don't want you anymore. And the Vikings still have Pat Shurmur and Tony Sperano, two guys that can be an offensive coordinator in this league. So, with that in mind, I think he was pushed out. Now, when it comes to this game, the Lions are very dangerous. They won 3 out of their past 4 games. They lost to the Texans, but the Texans are a tough team. Now they can go to Minnesota and they could win. I'm not going to pick it, though. I'm going to pick the Vikings to win this game. I think the Vikings are much better at home. We saw them beat the Green Bay Packers at home. We saw them beat the New York Giants at home. We saw them beat plenty of teams at home. They're better at home. So I like them. They also absolutely killed the Texans at home as well. So I think the Vikings are just a different team at home. However, I'm very concerned when the Vikings go to Detroit if they're going to win. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I like the Vikings to win this game, but I like the Lions to cover. We move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs are starting Nick Foles at quarterback. The Chiefs have been playing really well lately, and look out for this game. I mean, I'm not picking an upset here, but I'm telling you, an upset is actually pretty... it's somewhat likely here, okay? I think the Jaguars, they just fired Greg Olsen, their offensive coordinator. They've been off for 10 days. They're pretty freaking desperate right now. And although they're not very good at all, in fact, I'd say that they stink, their offensive talent and their defensive talent is present. While the Chiefs, I think they're in for a letdown. They've been playing really well over the past 3 or 4 weeks, ever since their bye week pretty much. So I think they're due for a letdown, especially without Alex Smith. So I think this game's going to end up being pretty close, and it wouldn't completely shock me if the Jaguars won this game. I'm going to pick the Chiefs, though, because they're just a better team. But I think it's time for the Chiefs to get into a close football game, and I think this is going to be the football game. Surprisingly, I know. We move on to the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. And I understand. The Jets got it done last week. I didn't think they were going to get it done. I don't care. The Jets stink. Come on, guys. They stink. I understand that they can win the occasional impressive game. They went to Buffalo week 2 and won. They beat the Baltimore Ravens. They beat last week the Cleveland Browns. But this is not a good football team. Ryan Fitzpatrick is too inconsistent. I can't rely upon him. While, when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, they're pretty inconsistent too. But what did I tell you 2 weeks ago? I told you, whatever you believe about the Miami Dolphins this season, you need to look at the reset button and you need to press it, because this is a completely different team than they were when they faced the Bengals and the Titans. This is a completely different team. They run the football, they run it well, they're smarter, they're better defensively, they're just a different team. Ryan Tannehill is playing within himself, not doing too much. They're a different team right now. So even if you think the Dolphins stink, and they definitely stunk, 2-3 weeks ago, they're different now. So press the reset button in your head. So once that button is repressed, reset button is pressed, then you'll realize, guys, the Dolphins are a better team here. In fact, it pains me to say they may even make a little bit of a wild card push the way they're playing the past couple of weeks. They just had a bye week last week. I like the Miami Dolphins to beat the New York Jets pretty easily. We move on to the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants, and man, The Eagles keep burning me. I think I've picked the Eagles the past 3 or 4 weeks, and they've only proven me right once, and that was against the Minnesota Vikings. I think this Eagles team is just not very good on the road. I don't know why. And now they're going up against a New York Giants defense that is really good. I mean, it's pretty good. They're 10th in points allowed. They don't have a premier pass rusher right now. I don't know why they suddenly they've run into that ridiculous deal. I told you he was going to get a lot of sacks, and look, he's not getting a lot of sacks, but he's a guy that's good against the run. He's going to slow down the Eagles' run game, and the Eagles' wide receivers, they're not going to be able to move and get much yardage against these pretty impressive Giants corners and Eli Apple, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, and Janoris Jenkins, who are all still pretty healthy. Eli Apple missed a couple games, but he's healthy again. Also, Leon Hall. So I don't think these wide receivers are going to be able to make plays. I don't think the Eagles are going to be able to make plays. Their only hope is that they get some help from special teams, and their defense is able to pick off Eli Manning or get a fumble recovery or two, but I don't like that right now. I like the Giants to win this game and go 5-3, which would be really good right now for them. We move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens, and look, I understand that some people want to pick the Ravens here, but number one, the Steelers know how to go to Baltimore and win. They've done it plenty of times before in the past. They'll do it plenty of times in the future. The one argument I'm saying is that the Ravens have come off a bye week. Okay, so have the Steelers. Move on. That doesn't mean anything to me. The Steelers are a better team. Ben Roethlisberger is coming back from injury. Even if he doesn't, I don't care, to be quite honest with you, but he will. The Steelers are a better team. The Ravens aren't very good. They've lost 4 straight games, and it's not a losing streak in which you say, okay, it must break now. It's more of a losing streak where you're like, oh, they're not very good. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Let's move on to the Carolina Panthers at the Los Angeles Rams. Panthers got it done last week. I had an inkling that they could, but I just didn't pick it, damn it. But fine, now I'm going to ride this Panthers wave. I think the wave is coming. I think you can feel it. The Panthers are going to start riding. Panthers are going to start winning more games, getting hot, getting on a little bit of a streak, making a bit of a run. This is the time to jump on it. Okay, I'm going to jump on this bandwagon. But with that said, I think this game might be a little close just because right now Cam Newton is not getting any respect by the officials, by the referees. They put no respect on his name. So I think the Rams will beat him up a little bit, but ultimately the Panthers will get it done. Guys, they still have a very highly rated passing offense and rushing offense and just points scored. Their defense stinks. But I can't trust Case Keenum to take advantage of that on a week-to-week basis. You got to pick the Panthers here to me. Let's move on to the New Orleans Saints at the San Francisco 49ers. And, look at this 49ers statistically. Wait, does anyone smell that? Oh, they stink. Okay, they're horrible in terms of offensively, in terms of defensively. The Browns are much better statistically than the San Francisco 49ers. I think an argument can be made that the 49ers are the worst team in football right now. And yes, I do actually think the Saints may not play as well as we think they will here. I think a lot of people think the Saints are just going to run all over the San Francisco 49ers, beat them like 40-2 or something. But for some reason, the Saints, they never really, it's ever since like 2011, 2012, they don't really just blow teams out when they should. I don't know why. They just don't do it. So don't be surprised if this game is only by a touchdown or maybe 10 points. But ultimately, the Saints are going to get it done. I like the Saints to get it done because the San Francisco 49ers have a lot of work to do in the offseason. We move on to the Indianapolis Colts at the Green Bay Packers. And I like the Packers to win this game. They had a very good showing last week against the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, they only lost by 1 point in Atlanta. Very impressive. They need to get back to their winning ways. However, I do think the Colts actually have a shot here, and a pretty good shot. The spread is 7.5 for the Green Bay Packers. I think that's too high. I think the Colts are going to compete here. You're going to see the Colts put up a number of points, I think, on the Green Bay Packers. I think you're going to see Andrew Luck throw for 3, possibly 4 touchdowns. They have T.Y. Hilton healthy. They have Dante Moncrief back and healthy. They're going to score on this Green Bay Packers secondary that is not good right now. They're missing Quentin Rollins. They're missing Demarius Randall. They're missing these key guys in their secondary. This is going to be a shootout to me. It's a shootout that I see the Packers winning, but I think people are not giving enough credit and respect to the Indianapolis Colts. And yes, they had a horrible showing last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think they're going to bounce back this week. I really do. we look out for the next game, the Tennessee Titans at the San Diego Chargers. And I'm a Titans fan, first of all. I picked the Titans games correctly 6 straight weeks now. I think I know what I'm talking about. And this game, I'll tell you, I'm going to pick this game. I'm not confident about this game at all. The question is to me, first of all, the Chargers are a better team than the Tennessee Titans. I mean, let's just make it clear. The Chargers, they lost last week to the Broncos. They're the Broncos. They're a team that's in every game. They lost and choked some games earlier in the season, but they've rectified those mistakes. They beat the Falcons in Atlanta. That's a win. The Titans, they can't get that kind of win yet. Next year, definitely, but not now. The Chargers are a better team. The question is, can the Chargers, or will the Chargers, view the Titans very lightly and not take this game seriously? And I would have bought into this more if they would have won this week, but they didn't. They lost to the Denver Broncos this week. I think that makes them more willing to take this game very seriously. After this game, I'm much more likely to buy that after this game, both of these teams have the same record, 4-5, than I am to buy that the Tennessee Titans have a 5-4 record, while the San Diego Chargers have a 3-6 record. I'm not really buying that. The Titans, they won last week. I don't think they're ready to go to San Diego and win, and their secondary gets absolutely torn up by good quarterbacks. We saw Stafford tear them up. We saw last week, a couple weeks ago, Andrew Luck tear them up. We saw Blake Bortles actually get some success against them in the second half against the Jaguars game. This secondary is not good, and I think Philip Rivers is going to recognize that. He's going to beat them. One thing also I like for the Titans, though, they're very healthy. I mean, I think the Tennessee Titans are the healthiest team in the NFL. They only have 2 major injuries, and they're not even major, and that is to their guards, Quinton Spain and Chance Warmack. This team is healthy. While the Chargers have injuries, Keenan Allen's still not going to play the whole season, and now you're hearing that I think Tyrell Williams and Travis Benjamin are on the injury report right now. I'm not sure if they're going to play. I think they will, but they have a number of guys on the injury report right now, so the Titans are healthy, very healthy, but I'll like the Chargers to win this game ultimately, but it will be close, and we'll see who can turn it out. I would have liked this game more for the Titans if the Chargers would have had a worse run defense, but the run defense is actually pretty good. They're only giving up 3.8 yards per carry. They have given up 11 rushing touchdowns, which is too much, but only 3.8 yards per carry. That tells me the Titans are going to lose this game. We move on. Denver Broncos at Oakland Raiders. And tough game. But you know what? You just have to pick a team here, and I'm going with the whole team. And I understand that the Oakland Raiders are not a great home team. For some reason, they're road warriors. They're like 5-0 on the road, but they're only 1-2 at home, losing to the Atlanta Falcons and the other team they lost to, the Kansas City Chiefs. What the hell? But I think they're ready, and I think this is such a huge game. I mean, they circled this game on their calendar for a while. I think this is why they slept on the Bucs last week, because they were kind of looking ahead for this game. It's circled on their calendar. They're like, this is the game. I'm sure Khalil Mack and Derek Carr and Amari Cooper, they all have a calendar, upside their bed, and they have this game circled. This is the game on Sunday Night Football on national television. We show the world the Oakland Raiders are Super Bowl contenders, and we show the world we are here to stay. I think the Raiders are going to be motivated for this game. I know the Raider fans are going to be motivated for this game. I think Trevor Siemian will not play as well as some people think he will. This Raiders defense has been playing better lately. Not a lot of people are talking about that. Sean Smith has stepped it up lately. He actually looks like a good cornerback, a good signing now. David Emerson's playing well. I think they locked down, or at least slowed down, Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, rendering the Broncos to just be a running team and not good enough to outpace and outscore this Raiders offense. I like the Oakland Raiders to defeat the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football and solidify themselves as a serious threat. We move on to the Monday Night Football game, the final game, the Buffalo Bills at the Seattle Seahawks. And, there's a chance here that the Bills can upset. Okay, LaShawn McCoy needs to be back, needs to be healthy, needs to be good to go. If he is, if they can run the ball on the Seahawks right now. And the Seahawks, for some reason, man, their offense just is not very good at all. Tyler Lockett, where is this guy? Please, can this guy show up? I need him to show up because I have him in one of my fantasy leagues and he's not doing anything for me. He's not in great shape in the offense right now. You know, Doug Baldwin has been inconsistent this year. Their passing game is not on point right now. If it was, I think they'd blow out the Bills, but it's not. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a low-scoring contest here between these two teams. And the question is who's going to pull it out. And I like the Seahawks to pull it out at home. But do not sleep on the Bills here. I think they're not getting enough respect against the spread. So with that said, let's move on to my guarantees of the week. And let's start. And I have a lot of guarantees of the week, by the way, this week. And I like a lot of plays this week. You know, they're not really guarantees, as you can tell. I never get them all right, but it's a catchy name. I have 7 guarantees this week. It's a lot, but I really like them, and I think I can go 5-2 with these. That's why I went with a ridiculous amount of 7 guarantees. So let's talk about them. Number 1. Jets at Dolphins. I like the over 44 here. I think both of these teams are not very good defensively. I don't know who told Vegas they are. They're not. The Jets are giving up one of the higher passer ratings in the NFL, maybe the highest at this point. They did not play very well against Josh McCown last week. They ended up with like 2 interceptions, but they didn't play very well in the first half. So this Jets team, they allow teams to move the football on them. And this Dolphins defense, they're not very consistent. So I like the over 44 there. We look at the Jaguars plus 7.5. Again, I think the Jaguars are going to keep this somewhat close against the Chiefs, so give me the plus 7.5. We move on to the Saints minus 3.5. Yes, I did say that this game would be closer than some people are expecting, but minus 3.5, I'm willing to take that. I think they win by 4 points at least, so give me the Saints at minus 3.5. Steelers. Now, currently, this spread is, I've seen it anywhere from Steelers +1 to Steelers +3. Anywhere, I don't care. The Steelers are going to win this game. Give me the Steelers. The spread is probably going to end up being the Steelers -1 or 2. So just look for this spread to just keep on changing and changing. I like the Steelers no matter what the spread is. Cowboys -7. I think they go to Cleveland. They take care of business. Give me the Cowboys -7. Give me the Colts +7.5. Again, I like the Colts to keep it somewhat close against the Packers, and it wouldn't shock me if they upset it. Angelo's going to get success against this Green Bay defense, and we end with the Bills +7. So I like a lot of teams, as you can tell. I like the Jags +7.5. I like the Bills +7. I like the Colts +7.5. I think a lot of these teams are kind of getting disrespected. They're not that bad. Now, the Browns are bad. The 49ers are bad. The Bears, they're actually okay lately. But I don't think you can give up this many points to the Jags, the Bills, the Colts. They're not that bad. So give me those points. I'll take those points, and hopefully we can make some money with those points. Again, all of my predicted scores, projected scores can be found down in the description box below, and thus ends my NFL Week 9 picks and predictions. What are yours? Comment down below. I want to know if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. Peace.